It is an early morning walk, hitting two birds with one stone.
Ordinary day in my life, when I wake up, I do some small exercises.
It is a pace for fitness,
just to keep my body fit.
a trek for business, and a quest for prosperity.
After those exercises and breakfast that follows, I prepare for work.
This is how Engineer Hilary Onek starts his day while in his home area of Palabek. This is found in the Acholi sub-regional district of Lamuo in northern Uganda. While here, he drops the suit, removes his shoes to embrace outfit meant for farming. And on, the Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees embarks on monitoring activities at his farm. His first stop is at the confinement for his flock, made up of hundreds of goats and sheep. The number has grown over the years, having begun with a mere 7 sheep.
Well, I brought some few goats and few sheep. I brought here 7 goats, 7 sheep, and about 100 goats. But at the moment, there are more sheep than the goats. There is over 210 sheep, and they've multiplied over the period. And the goats are reduced because, goats, people like to use them for different purposes.
When they are ready for consumption or sale, there is market from the Muslim community, especially during the end of the fasting season.
Last year, I sold some to the Muslims who were celebrating their Eid in Kitgum here and some in Gulu. But so far, I haven't yet sold some. Maybe I will make arrangement and take some, maybe 100, and go and sell, just to generate income for management of this area.
These are just a few of the animal species that are reared here. Next to the goats and sheep shelter is the kraal for cattle. Locally produced and commercially cared for, they are raised for both dairy and meat consumption. Equally, the proceeds are worth the effort, and both the proprietors and farm employees have enough reason to smile.
Essentially, I don't buy food. Everything is here in the farm. So I can live without, and even I can do I earn some money from the milk we are selling. The milk fluctuates. When it's a dry season, we get less milk. For example, dry season now I get about 30 to 40 liters. Rainy season, I get anything. I get double that amount. And they sell it, and that money is able to help look after those who are looking after cows and goats. We pay their salaries and so on.
as the minister takes a mid-morning break from inspection. The gum boots on the doorway happily means come afternoon is another farm overseeing session. And after a short break, the inspection resumes. The availability of land, measuring about 1,000 acres, makes it possible for all these ventures to succeed. The proceeds are used for further investments in the farm, including food crop production. This is how crops like cassava, simsim, soya bean, millet among others are produced here.
I planted simsim this year, harvested about 50 to 60 bags of simsim, which I know when the time comes, I'll probably earn about 30 million from that. And soya, I harvested about 50 bags. That is 50 bags of soya is 5 tons. So there I will also earn some money. We planted millet and some of these beans and so on, they are there in the store. We have food around. So when I come home, I have milk from my cows, I have food here, I've got chicken around. I mean, it's just a home, in human life to me is that an activity that must be sustainable. Your activity as a human being must be sustainable. In other words, you don't waste time. Do things that can change your environment, improve on your lives.
Half of the land is set aside for animal rearing, while the other half is meant for food crops, trees and beekeeping, among other ventures.
51 beehives. So far, over 30 have been colonized, and they are producing. I think they are actively producing some honey. We checked, and we found out that maybe they need up to a period of about 2 more months. In March, we shall be harvesting the beehives, and probably we shall generate each of these beehives about 40 kilos if they are all colonized and full. And from the 40 kilos, if we harvest 30, we should be able to get about 1,200 kilos. And if we sold those at 5,000 shillings, 1,200, we should be able to get anything about 6 million or more. And we have a cousin sister who is processing honey in Kidgum. We shall be all selling it wholesale to her at 5,000. But ordinarily, a kilo of honey, when it comes out, honeycomb is not less than 10,000. From last April, May, when we planted the groundnuts here, we integrated them with cassava. And this cassava now are about 10 months, and they are ready actually to eat. You see, they produce tubers, they are cracking, the ground is cracking, as you can see. And we can start harvesting it maybe from March, April, and covering the entire area of about nearly 10 acres. And this cassava, when they mature, maybe by May, June, July, we should be able to harvest them and slice them and dry them up for cassava flour, to produce cassava flour which is usually good for food, and at the same time, those interested, there are many people who are interested in cassava flowers. You can produce from here. As I said, last year I sold about 120 bags of cassava flowers, which actually generated some good income, which we reinvested back in the farm and also supported our workers. I even do, despite this hot weather, this kind of dry period like this, I even have a small banana plantation behind here, which is doing well, and we eat matoke here. So really, it's just a matter of innovatively applying yourself. What you can do with this kind of situation.
But this does not come without challenges. To a large extent, the farm still depends on rain-fed agriculture, whereas it neighbors a water source. Only small dams and small-scale irrigation have been established. This, however, is not to say there is no plan for expansion.
I've not adapted extensively technology yet in agriculture. However, I've built myself. As you know, I'm a dam engineer. I constructed a simple dam down there where I have a huge volume of water, which goes almost nearly a kilometer long, and the width of the water is over 150 meter wide and nearly 1 kilometer long. And the water is there at full time. During this dry season, it's not drying, it's there. I've got fish in it. I managed to put fish in it. And my animals are able to drink from those if I pump from there, and so forth. And here I've just put this year I put a drip irrigation system to cover I planted oranges, avocados, and some mangoes, orchards, which are still young, which I'm developing. I put there a drip irrigation system, particularly during a period like now when it is dry. Right now, I use drip system to water them and so forth. And I know slowly, slowly, I'm going to expand it and irrigation system to make it more elaborate and covering most of my activities here.
Uganda is into the early phase of implementing the recently launched parish development model. But what is there for young people to learn from the minister's undertaking? Is it about availability of land or something else?
Because farming essentially depends on the scale and the intensity of the farming. You can even have only 1 acre of land, which is about the size of my compound here. You can turn this into a big money minting institution if you put appropriate agro investment in it. Like, for example, there are cases which our president always referred to in Ruengaju, in Port Portal, where within the 1 acre, a farmer has his own house there, home there, has space, has built their chicken hatchery place, where they're selling eggs every day, which brings maybe 10 or 20 trays of eggs every day. He's put 0 grazing cows there, maybe for milk, 4 or 5 cows. You feed them in one place and you milk. The income from all those activities can even be more than having expanse of land which is used for only low quality crops, low value crops. Depending on how you apply the little land that you have. Here I have 1,000 acres, I have the luxury of space. I haven't yet gone intensive, but with time, I might think about intensive farming here, whereby I would apply technology or appropriate agro investment that can bring more money than what it is now.
The success at his own farm has not been possible without support from his family, ranging from his wife to the children. And this is how he has been able to balance between farming and his national duties as Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees.
You see, my background, my rural background, obviously looks at farming as another way of survival, of living. Because we have land, and God has blessed me with a little bit of capacity in terms of I'm earning better than most people in my villages. In fact, from my work as a member of parliament, or even previously as managing director National Water. So those resources we get, the income I get from those activities, I don't drink them and I don't misuse them. I just put them back to improve my environment, my living conditions.
And there goes another instance of leading by example, clearly indicating that the speed of the captain is the speed of the team.